This is Off the Cuff, and I'm Steve from TorahFamily.org. At one point or another in our life, we've all said the phrase, "Well, the Lord knows my heart." And that's right, He does. When it comes right down to it, it's only you and Him who really knows your heart. However, the problem is, you may not know your heart as well as you think. The scriptures say our heart can be deceitful. Jeremiah 17, "The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it?" So, if the heart is deceitful, who is it deceiving? Us. But if our heart is out to deceive us, what's it deceiving us from? The truth. It deceives us to make us believe we are a good person and all our ways are right. Proverbs 21. All a man's ways seem right to him, but Yahweh weighs the heart. This says Yahweh weighs the heart. Well, what's He weigh it to? He weighs it to His eternal word. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. "For the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and spirit, of joints and of marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart." This is important. So, are you following your heart or the word? I know this may sound like a silly question to some, but before you answer too quickly, please consider this verse from Ecclesiastes. "Be happy, young man, while you are young, and let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart, and whatever your eyes see. But know that for all these things, God will bring you to judgment." This is what eventually happened to Israel. First, they followed their stubborn hearts, and because they were stubborn, Yahweh let them have their way. Psalm 81. "So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts, to follow their own devices." So, with this in mind, again, I ask, are you following your heart or the word? But how would we know the difference since our heart is deceptive? How can we know the difference? This is a great question. It's actually a scary question. Think about it. Doesn't every believer hold to the thought that they're following in obedience? For the grand majority, I have to say yes. However, Yeshua tells us that's not the case. Matthew 7:21. "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and perform many miracles?' Then I will tell them plainly, 'I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers.' Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock." Now please know, the Greek here for evildoers actually says workers of lawlessness. But when looking at verse 24, what words of His are we to put into practice so this isn't said to us? To know this, we have to go to the beginning of this very same discourse in chapter 5, where He said, "Do not think I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. It's the law, the Torah, that he said wouldn't disappear until heaven and earth disappear, that we're to put into practice. And that's why we read this in the Psalms. Psalm 119. I have hidden your word in my heart, that I might not sin against you. The law is that which defines what sin is. So when one tries to do away with the law, they're doing away with the very definition of sin. So what's in our heart? Stubbornness and deceit, which only deceives, or the Word? Consider this in 1 Samuel. Yahweh does not look at the things man looks at. Man looks at the outward appearance, but Yahweh looks at the heart. This is Yahweh talking to Samuel when he was going to anoint David as the next king in place of Saul. Samuel was looking at the appearance of David's brothers. While men can look like they have it right on the outside, no one can hide what's in their heart from Yahweh. This is why Yahweh looks at the heart. He looks to see if we have His word in our heart as given in Deuteronomy 30. No, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so you may obey it. From the very beginning, Yahweh has desired obedience from the heart. This is why Yeshua quoted from Deuteronomy. Love Yahweh your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Obedience from the heart. This is the heart of the matter. It's all about what we have in our heart, and that which is in our heart will eventually work its way out. That's why we read this, Proverbs 27. As water reflects the face, so a man's heart reflects the man. And Jeremiah 17. I, Yahweh, search the heart and examine the mind, to reward a man according to his conduct, according to what his deeds deserve. You may hide it in front of people here on earth, but as we saw in Matthew chapter 7, it will be made known to all at the judgment. So, yes, only you and Yahweh know your heart. But please don't forget that our heart can deceive us. It will try to reason things away. On top of that, just because you're not convicted on something, it doesn't mean you're not accountable to it. I know that may sound harsh, but please remember what Yeshua said. John chapter 15. If I had not come and spoke to them, they would not be guilty of sin. Now, however, they have no excuse for their sin. So, when one hears the word, there's a certain amount of accountability from that moment forward. Thus, our prayer should be what we see in Psalm 51. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Don't be the one who says this prayer, but the moment Yahweh tries to clean something out, the deception of their heart takes over to justify their way. Don't be a worker of lawlessness. Pursue His Torah every day from the heart. Let it be that when Yahweh looks at your heart, He sees love and obedience to His Torah. Well, that's all I have. Think about it. Pray about it. But more than anything, be a doer of the word and not a hearer only. Until next time, Shalom.